Much, Mary. First of all, it's an absolute privilege to be discussing this with the founder of White Friday in the region. I fully agree with you that it's become a multicolored event with lots of different colors between white and yellow and black and all of them. And really, it's no longer a day, right? It's not really Friday. It extended to a weekend, to a week, and now we call it Mad November because sales and offers start throughout the month of November. So to answer your question, how we start is we've started really early. So we started having our conversations with our partners back in June because we believe we have a very unique proposition when it comes to this month overall, this month of commerce. We understand that the priority during this month is for all our partners is to drive conversion and to drive sales. And we are a creative platform, right? We are an entertainment platform, essentially, that's meant to inspire creativity and bring joy. So our job needed to start really early in terms of how we bring to life the concept of community commerce in the industry here in the region. And essentially what that entails is taking a bit of step back in terms of how commerce is being reimagined today in the industry. The first section of today's webinar, I think, were rich and so full of insights. But the one that really stuck the most with me is how it's really no longer about the discount, right? Like, Mary, when you brought White Friday to the region, and essentially it was so, you started off as a main player, and then you started getting more and more competition. Today, the offer or the discount, it was like perfectly said, it's a right to for entry, right? But it's no longer a USP. So with all of these different players running at the same time, how are they going to stand out? And what we see here is that commerce is really transforming from a pure play exchange of buying and selling between people or businesses to really collaborating amongst communities for more honest purchase experiences. So it's becoming much more of a social engagement across tribes and different cultures that gather online. And this paradigm shift has a lot of implications on the industry. And the biggest implication we see is that creative thinking is no longer limited to upper funnel or top funnel. If you really want to stand out during Black Friday, you really need to stand out also creatively in terms of the idea. And at
Yeah.
TikTok, we no longer believe in just the traditional marketing funnel. We believe it's collapsed. Like, even if you're running a dynamic ad that's meant to drive immediate conversion, it really has to stand out and help you build your brand in parallel at the same moment. So to do all of this, we needed to start early, identifying the creative ideas for our partners, connecting them with the right TikTok creators to bring these ideas to life, and then helping them design plans that are tailor-made for their specific business objectives.
That's awesome. I can't wait to actually be entertained and watch some of the great stuff you're going to be doing, Arif. I guess, Philip, you must be talking to Arif, and you sit in the middle of both worlds, offering the customers the selection they want, both in the retail and online. Like, that must be a very tough job. I had an easy one. It was just one channel. How do you manage? How do you split between both? And how do you decide? I mean, do you change the selection? Do you change the price? Tell me a little bit more about how you're preparing for Black Friday, this one, and in between your brick and mortar versus your online.
Yeah, first, thanks for having me, Mary and Red's here on this event. So I think, because we're an omni-channel business, we don't proactively try and differentiate too much between online and offline in terms of offering. I think in the region, yeah, Black Friday is still predominantly online. Offline, it is, come into the stores in different formats, not so much, Black Friday splashed all across the windows like you might see in the US or the UK. But how we look at it is more the split between acquisition and retention, because Black Friday can be a really expensive time of year for retailers because it's quite a low margin event, because you have high costs and quite a lot of discount. So you need to be thinking more about how do you get that customer to come back after the event to make a second, third, or fourth purchase. So it's treating Black Friday very much as an acquisition event, and then what is your CRM strategy after that, to try and get them to come back on month 3, month 6, month 12 even. Now, with the retail side, I think it gives you a little bit more of an advantage against the pure players in that sense, because you've got something else to offer. Rather than trying to drive customers back to your website again, you can actually try and drive them to store, so they can actually come in, experience the products and the customer service. So it's kind of thinking of Black Friday online for acquisition, and then, you know, CRM and bricks and mortar for lifetime value. So it's thinking of it in that kind of context.
Perfect, got it. Thank you. That's definitely difficult. And Raja, I guess every single, you know, big retailer is investing nowadays. Where do you see most of the gaps are? Like, where do you see they need most of the technology help in?
Yeah, I think, you know, as Philip was mentioning, you know, for omni-channel retailers, you know, I think we see that they've already started investing, you know, quite some time ago. I mean, some of the retailers who had that early advantage of, you know, investing in their omni-channel solutions, you know, their capabilities, etc. Like, for example, KOJ, you know, was already there with their omni-channel e-commerce and omni-channel strategy, you know, even before the pandemic. But I would say, you know, the pandemic has kind of accelerated the whole process of, you know, focus and investments, you know, around omni-channel. You know, this has actually, you know, kind of set the platform for a lot of retailers to be ready. You know, and we have had retailers where, you know, during the pandemic, you know, I mean, we have a pharmacy retailer whose orders, yeah, we see you.
Finally, sorry about that.
Yeah. So we have seen, you know, for example, you know, we have a pharmacy retailer who has seen their order book, you know, jump from about 2,000 orders a day to about, you know, 25,000 orders a day. And similarly, you know, a beauty retailer, you know, who had to quickly kind of roll out, you know, curbside pickup, etc., with lockdowns and things like that last year. You know, within about 3 weeks, you know, they could roll out that capability, and we're soon doing about, I think, about 10,000 orders a day. So I guess, you know, most of these retailers have started, you know, have already invested, you know, in the technology and the capability that is required to offer this, you know, experience to their customers. And now I think, you know, with events like Black Friday, it's about time to kind of, you know, utilize those investments, or try to reap the benefits or monetize those investments, I would say. So I guess, you know, events like Black Friday, you know, are really going to be that, you know, event where, you know, the retailers would kind of test all their investments and see how much they can, you know, kind of garner, you know, online market share. You know, they've already kind of, you know, kicked their targets out last year. You know, so targets that they had for like 2025, you know, they kind of already reached, you know, in 2020 itself, all those retailers who were, you know, ready with the investments. And, you know, and that has kind of also, you know, created interest in all the retailers who are sitting on the sidelines and watching, you know, how would e-commerce evolve, you know, and have joined the party now. You know, they've also kind of started coming online now with their own, you know, D2C websites and things like that. So for most of these retailers, it's all about now, how do we kind of monetize those investments? So that is something that, you know, we are going to see, you know, with a lot of retailers, you know, this Black Friday. And of course, you know, Oracle has, you know, been playing a critical role in you know, enabling all these retailers with all these solutions, you know, that give them visibility to inventory, you know, real-time orders, you know, all the omni-channel journeys that the customers would prefer, like buy online, pick up in store, or, you know, buy in store, get shipped from the
the new
warehouse.
solutions of, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, thank you. I mean, I guess and you're right, Raja, a lot of the investments, a lot of those retailers actually start investing and initiate big technology projects just for that, but then this actually elevates them to a completely different standard in serving their customers. I guess beyond, I know that everything starts with a big event like Black Friday. But if we just think about it, again, when we started at Souk, the first White Friday, it was just the start of so many brands to go online, but we maintained that and it became more of, okay, then what do we do next? I guess, Philip, maybe you can advise us, what at the more generic level, not just on a Black Friday, what do brands need to do to be online? What is your pitch to them? What is your advice for brands to go online?
Um, it's a tricky one. I suppose you could break it down into three elements. So, the first important one is engagement, right? And I think a lot of retailers, they're getting it right off premise. So on platforms like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, they're doing a great job of engaging with their customers. But I think when the customer then arrives on their website, they may be falling short in the sense that, okay, they're doing offers or sales and there's products there, but they're not thinking about how can I engage my customer whilst on the platform in a different way. We've done it in various ways across our brands, like our makeup brand Makiaji last year was using augmented reality so that you could try your makeup on while you're on the website on the phone. A lot of our brands gamify like data collections, so you play spin the wheel type games and win prizes. Our brand Naomi at the moment has got a virtual reality store, so you can actually walk into one of our Saudi Arabia stores online, walk around the store and actually purchase. So it's not just about thinking about that off-premise engagement. It's like, what about the native engagement when they arrive on your platform? So that needs to be thought through quite a lot. The other thing is options. Customers love options. It's like whether it's payment options, delivery options, customer service options. You can't just be offering card and cash on delivery now. You need things like Apple Pay, buy now, pay later, etc. And when it comes to the delivery options, some people want their products today. Some people don't mind waiting 2-3 days, and some people want to do click and collect. So you got to have those options there. And I think the last thing is like community. As humans, we love communities, whether it's, your home community, whether it's a community on TikTok, whether it's, your local gym, a dog walking club, a book club. We all love a little community, right, of some description. So it's how do you wrap a community around your brand, really, to keep customers keep coming back and becoming engaged. And we've just launched something called Family Club, which is for our early learning center brands. Now, basically, you pay 99 dirhams or SAR to join the club. And basically, you get huge amounts of benefits, gifts, discounts, which far outweigh the 99 dirhams. But what it means
it's like Prime, basically, for Amazon or something.
Yeah, exactly. So it's about people investing in that community so they keep coming back. Exactly like you say, if you're paying your Amazon subscription every month, you're more likely to go back to Amazon. If you've paid 99 dirhams for the year at Early Learning Center and you've got all these benefits at your disposal, then you're more likely to come back. So it's trying to think of, smart ways of building community and getting people to come back.
That's awesome. Well, I guess you mentioned, communities, and I guess TikTok. How are you, supporting all of these brands to go online? I really want to, some of those success stories that you were telling me about earlier.
Sure. Absolutely. Thank you, Mary. First of all, a huge shout out to Philip because he said it spot on. Commerce is really all about the community. I mean, if you allow me just for a second, let's travel back in time together. Like, let's go back 10,000 BC to the origins of commerce. Commerce was within a community, right? There was no internet. Real people would gather in a physical marketplace and they would have conversations and haggle. And then eventually trust would be formed. And they would be like, okay, I'm going to buy this thing. I'm going to give you this thing in return. That's essentially what a community is all about. It's about trust, right? And eventually you need to scale that. So the real question that we're trying to help our partners with is, how do you bring back that 10,000 BC level of intimacy of a community, but how do you do it at scale? And what we try to do as TikTok is embrace that notion of community commerce versus social commerce and other types of commerce, which definitely have a reason to exist, but ours is very different. And essentially what we do is, first, it's important to know who are you talking to. Like, what is the community that you're embracing, and define it on a specific level, not at a very generic level. So for example, saying fashion is quite generic. Within fashion, what kind of community are you looking after? Are you looking after, specific types of even like niche interests that might be coming up within fashion? And the more specific the community is, the higher the levels of engagement that you see. And then you identify an idea that works within the community. And the part that we work very closely with our partners on is try to avoid traditional advertising when you come to the platform. As in, trust the process that if you find the right creator, gently leave them alone if you trust them. Identify the idea, identify what you want to do, but then give them the freedom to bring your brand to life on our platform in an authentic way. And when we've seen brands do that properly, we've seen at minimum 2x the levels of conversion on advertising that are leveraging creators versus those that are just adapted from a TVC or for a campaign that is made on another platform. That's our area of focus in terms of how do we help brands embrace community commerce via creator-led assets. And the creator is not an influencer on TikTok. So we don't mean an A-class celebrity with millions of followers. A creator is a person of the community, right? So if I have a dog, you have a dog, we're both part of pet loving community, and I'm posting content that is genuine, then I could be a credible creator within that community. It's not about hiring a very expensive, millions of followers, A-class celebrity. I hope that answers your question, but I'm happy to elaborate.
No, it's awesome. I definitely need to talk to you and see how we can tap into that community. But I think also, but just back to you, Arif, sorry. I'm interested in does it actually work? Like, have you seen a link between, so I understand the building of the brand and all of that. I'm particularly interested in understanding, does it actually lead into transactions and sales at the end of the day? So I'm sorry, I come from e-commerce, but it's like, does it convert? Like,
Absolutely.
it's nice to watch. Does it convert is the question.
So here's where this hashtag behind me comes into the equation. TikTok made me buy it.
Model. Okay, yeah.
So TikTok made me buy it has crossed 5.5 billion views globally. And the best part is we did not create it. So this started by real people.
That's
on
awesome.
And it started a lot about Amazon SKUs that you would find on TikTok and then you would end up buying on TikTok. So you would find a lot of Amazon playlists with the hashtag TikTok made me buy it now across platforms. Let me give you 3 very quick examples without getting too much into the numbers because the first part was very rich in data. Feta cheese. Feta cheese, a lot of us might love it, especially if you like Greek cuisine. Feta cheese went out of stock in a country like Finland and a couple of other places as well. You could not find it on the shelves because of a feta pasta recipe that was trending on TikTok. And the hashtag that was embraced upon it was TikTok made me buy it. Because the feta pasta recipe, which is essentially cherry tomatoes, a block of feta, some garlic, you bake it in the oven, it's really good. It started trending. So there was no more feta on the shelves. Another brand, Ocean Spray.
That's interesting.
Yeah, Ocean Spray is a cranberry juice. It was doing okay, but its stock had started to decline. A gentleman, a blue collar worker, was skating because his car broke down one afternoon. He started lip syncing to Mac Fleetwood's song. And he was just drinking a jug of cranberry juice, right? And he was in such a vibe. His video was so authentic that a community of skaters picked it up. It started trending. The CEO of the Ocean Spray cranberry juice participated in the same trend. The band whose song was trending back in the 1970s jumped on the trend. All of a sudden, you have pictures of shelves that didn't have any more Ocean Spray on shelves. Here in the region, we worked together with KVD Beauty, brand by Sephora, because their brand was going out of stock in the US. We reapplied it here. We have screenshots from the team that few hours into their first top view on TikTok, they ran out of the SKU, like they started running out. So it really works so long as it's done in a proper way.
Yeah, in a genuine way also, right? Like the 100%. First 2 examples were real ones, not you didn't actually create it.
So 100%. And I don't want to take anybody else's time, but if you have time for a quick search, American Eagle leggings, Zara jeans, Gap hoodies. These are all just examples of brands that have very recently went out of stock because of TikTok made me buy it.
Well, unfortunately, Anghami can't get out of stock, but I'll definitely look at that trending soon with you. I guess, Raja, back to you. And like all the new trends, again, there's the, everyone is talking about daily fresh and hyper local. And like there's many things you mentioned yourself. A lot of your retailers are, the pickup locations. How are you innovating on that front? And what are you providing as new innovation?
Yeah, I think, as Philip and Arif mentioned, and in fact, Arif introduced us to a new term called community commerce. We were talking about social commerce, and it's community commerce now, and that kind of tells us that the lines between physical and digital are kind of blurring. There's no differentiation between online and offline. So whatever your customers are doing, either it be it in the store or online, across various channels, be it mobile, be it the customer app, or any other channel that the customer is interacting with the brand. As retailers, you need to kind of keep a track of it. What is your customers doing online, etc., and all the channels. So we are trying to kind of bring all that information, together, and kind of present it to the retailer. So for example, if I like something online, I put it on my wish list, or I kind of add it to my basket. And when I walk into the store, I would want the store associate, once they identify me, to know that this is a product that I'm looking for or I'm interested in. So I know that the store staff can have those conversations with me, recommend those products with me, or ask me to try them out. So ultimately, the experience that as a customer would be seamless. It would become seamless. If for example, I know the feta cheese example that Arif was mentioning. If we know that I like that video online, so we need to bring that information back into my customer profile. So this is a customer who's like this, so maybe he would be interested in this. And maybe with all the digital advertising and the campaigns, etc., that we do, kind of then target those customers because they have liked something on TikTok, or they've liked something on Facebook or Twitter or somewhere. So then we could target these customers with those specific solutions, or targeted offers, promotions. So we have all these recommendation engines in the back to tell which customer is going to buy what is it that is mostly likely to buy, based on all this information that we bring in, the customer insights that we have. So the customer would get that wow experience, that okay, this retailer definitely knows about me, and he's kind of giving me the offers that I really want to kind of take up. So that level of personalization, I think it was Akshay or Abhishek was mentioning about personalization being an important criteria. The other thing that I think Akshay was mentioning around was about private label. So a lot of retailers have started bringing in their own private label brands compared to national brands. Again, this was because of the information that retailers were able to collect around customer insights. So what is it that they like, and what is it that they want? What are their preferences, etc. And the supply chain constraints that were seen last year during the pandemic, with a lot of items going out of stock, shelves running empty. Retailers have decided that okay, maybe it's time for us to kind of bring our own products to fill the gaps. So private label also requires a lot of trust and compliances, that transparency, that as customers we would want before I can trust on a certain product on a private label from a retailer. So we have solutions that kind of brings all that compliances, the certifications, all of that, to kind of provide that trust and the confidence that customers would want to buy. So yeah, I think retailers are innovating in a lot of ways, and we as Oracle kind of understand the trends. We look at what's kind of working for retailers, and come up with solutions that can really enable them so they focus on their business, and we kind of provide them
you support
that
the
technology.
ecosystem. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And Philip, I guess a clear question is, post COVID, every one of us has suddenly realized that, okay, I actually want to order something online and I want it now, and this whole instant has become something that's super important. Are you seeing this trend in among your, because you have multiple brands in different segments, or are you specifically seeing it in some product segments? Like, is it more on the food related rather than, you can wait a couple of days to get your new shoes type of thing? Would love to know more about that.
Yeah, I think, that sector has evolved a lot in the last 10 years in particular. Not just in this region, but outside. You've got everyone's familiar with, getting your fast food delivered quick, right? So you just order it and delivery turns up. And then the explosive one at the moment, I suppose, is grocery, where you've got a lot of supermarkets and even pure players, offering 30-minute delivery on things like milk, bread, butter, whatever it might be, so you can get fresh goods. It hasn't penetrated, that real instant hasn't penetrated retail as much. Categories like fashion, beauty, etc. We do offer things like same day, and obviously we've got next day and standard, but there are some platforms like InstaShop, for instance, which are kind of expanding their categories. So our brand Makiaji, the makeup brand, have just integrated into InstaShop. So although, makeup's probably not an essential like your groceries, but people are clearly wanting to have, the delivery of the makeup and beauty a lot quicker. So, it takes a lot of work to be able to fulfill an order that fast, because basically we can't do that kind of fulfillment from our warehouse, because we might have one distribution center in one city, one in another. So we need to basically fulfill from our retail stores to be able to deliver that fast. So we have implemented something called Oracle Order Broker, which allows us to orchestrate our orders a lot quicker and easier. But the integration that we've done with InstaShop means that our store staff now need to do some picking and packing and get the product ready quickly for when the driver turns up on the bike and takes it. So it is starting to move, not just in the food and grocery sector, is starting to move more and more into retail, but I think the penetration might be a bit slower because of that fulfillment challenge, trying to get to a point where you can fulfill from store, because it's not easy. We've kind of figured it out, and if it works out for our beauty brand, then for sure we're trying to expand that into other categories. But it's a really interesting space, going from, okay, I want it the same day to I want it within 30 minutes or an hour. It's crazy.
And by the way, don't underestimate, if I want that lipstick right now, it's an urgent, it's an emergency. This is more important than food. Sorry.
Okay. But exactly. So shoppers like you kind of driving the trend, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. Arif, back to you. I'm getting bombarded with comments from different people. They want to know a lot more about the community. So you've got a lot of creators and influencers. We, for example, as Anghami, we've got a lot of artists and celebrities. I guess the question is, how do we utilize that community that you have built in creating an ongoing ad business?
Yes. Ongoing is the name of the game. Always on is the name of the game. Like you said, I mean, Philip said it perfectly well. No matter how excited we are about Black Friday, margins do go down, right? Investments are really, really high. And all your SKUs are on discount. So the real return that you get from Black Friday is by using it to sell as much as you can, but then what do you do after that? How do you sustain, right? And to sustain, you need an always on plan. So one of the things that we've done there is we want to help scale this effort when it comes to identifying creators. So we've recently launched TikTok Creator Marketplace. It's completely complimentary and free of charge. Like partners just need to sign up for it, but you don't pay anything to log in. And then once you're there, it's a marketplace. Currently, it has more than 1,200 of the best TikTok creators from Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Egypt. And we're working on adding more creators and more markets. And you can browse through not just the profiles, but you can also browse through their data, their audience demographics. A creator might be based in UAE, but most of her followers might be coming from Saudi. You can look at the age brackets of their followers, and then you can have examples of their content. And the best part is, if you like a certain creator as a brand, let's take, for example, I'm ELC. I'm browsing through, I find a family creator who does appropriate content for Early Learning Center. I can just click from there and say, hi, my name is Philip. I'm planning a campaign around Black Friday for ELC. Can we get in touch? And the creator has the right to get back to you. And it's usually very speedy. And that's what we do. We put brands in touch directly with creators because we believe that the more brands are speaking with more creators, the better the entire ecosystem works out in terms of embracing what community commerce is all about, which is creator-led assets that are authentic to the platform.
That's awesome. Thank you. I guess it's time. Is there any questions from anyone for any of our great panelists here before? Okay. I mean, I guess I wanted to end with Raja because at the end of the day, none of this would happen or exist if we didn't have the technology in the core. Raja, a question to you is like, do you really feel that technology is continuing to be the key differentiator for everyone here in this room? Or no, you feel that, okay, you've provided already the technology and they need to differentiate with other means?
Yes, I think technology is definitely going to be a key differentiator. Investments in technology would never end. What is working today, might not be relevant tomorrow. As we have heard from RF and Philip. So there'll be new channels coming up. There'll be new customer preferences coming up. Channels where, for example, quick commerce or instant delivery was not as important, would become important, like your red lipstick, for example. So, they need to have the technology to support all of these specific requirements. So as Oracle, we have been working, we have already started, investing, in our AI-based, recommendation engine and personalization engines, etc., for customer targeted promotions and offers. We have started looking at customer as a center of our core, product roadmap and strategy. So how is it that a customer, would look at, and what is it? What are his preferences? What are his, tastes, etc. So this goes right into the planning process itself, even before the product is ready. Based on the customer preferences, etc. So what is working? What is not working? This information is available, to the buyers and the merchandisers, so that when they go build a product or design a product, they are already thinking about what is working, what is not working, and what should be the assortment like. The system then recommends what should be the assortment like for each of these various channels. An online channel might want a different assortment. A store in south might need a different assortment. A store in north might need a different assortment based on customer demographics, customer preferences, etc. So it starts all the way from planning, even before the merchandise hits the store. The customer is at the center of what we do and how we do, and that is only going to increase. And we also started looking at, we have seen newer technologies that have started catching up, not just AI and ML, but IoT, Internet of Things, where a lot of things are now connected together, and information is shared across various platforms. We have started adding blockchain based capability into our solutions for intelligent track and trace, etc. So yes, I think technology is only evolving. Retailers are catching up with a lot of things, but what they have invested today is not going to be relevant a year or two down the lane. So that is a continuous process, and that is what we work on and provide to retailers.
Awesome, thank you. We have a question. I think I'm gonna get this question to Philip because it's most relevant. So the question is, for Black Friday, would you invest in your own e-commerce or would you just sell on a marketplace? Philip, I know that Jamjaam was actually, we did on Amazon have a few of your brands. So how do you do that? Do you just invest in your own, or do you also sell on a marketplace like Amazon or other marketplaces like Noon in the region?
I think it's good to have diversity. So yeah, don't just focus on one platform. Well, obviously your own platform is probably going to be your main priority, no matter what time of year it is. I think if you're going to be investing, say, like selling through marketplaces, then you know it's a good starting point if you're particularly starting off in e-commerce, because obviously the marketplaces already have the traffic, they already invest millions and millions in marketing, you know, so you can benefit from some of that existing traffic. With your own website, obviously you need to generate that traffic and you need to invest. So it's trying to get that balance between, okay, what can I afford to invest on my own platform, but how many products should I be listing on the marketplaces to benefit from their existing traffic? So yeah, I think it's a case of just
yeah,
you know, try and diversify but balance it correctly.
So both. Yeah, both, I guess. All right. Well, we're almost out of time. I want to thank, first of all, our great panel here. Awesome. I'm honored to be part of this. And good luck, all of you, with White Friday. I hope, and Black Friday. Sorry, I have to, like, my mind is still. Sorry. So, Akshay, please, back to you. Thank you so much, guys.